From watching two of the scariest undefeated stars up against each other to witnessing their brilliant trash talks, fans have been hungry for a fight between Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. And if that wasn't enough, their vicious face-off took it to an entirely new level. I mean, Gervonta really had it in him to call his opponent soft. Just a few days ago, the two met for the first time after declaring the greatest fight of the year. And I've gotta say, things were crazier than I ever expected them to be. I get it, they're putting their records in great jeopardy on the upcoming 22nd of April match in Las Vegas. But if you guys remember, they announced it at the event's press conference in New York. After being polite to one another and extolling the importance of the fight, Tank and Garcia went head-to-head for photos. And folks, that's where the trash talk truly began.
I have a spirit of competition in me, and you're gonna see that come out when I fight Tank and whoop his.
When things started getting a bit too heated, Davis, who has 26 knockouts in 28 fights, was chatting to Garcia with 19 from 23. Once they were all off the stage though, the Baltimore boxer informed Fight Hype what was stated after leaving the stage. He recalled how he told his opponent is too soft to be in the ring against him, and this isn't just a new idea. There's the entire theme where he feels that Ryan isn't good enough to be in the ring with him. But of course, Ryan disagrees wholeheartedly. The way he described it, it felt like Garcia simply wanted a way out of there, instead of trying to fight the king. And maybe he's smart about that, but that's not the only thing he had to talk about. The catchweight rehydration clause pissed Garcia off. The 24-year-old feels Davis and his crew imposed as many restrictions as they could.
So why'd you weight train? What? Oh, so why'd you fight at 140? I'm small. Look, I'm little.
To keep him from swerving the fight. And it had an impact, seeing how bothered Garcia truly found himself. But you can't blame the man.
I have a spirit of competition in me, and you're gonna see that come out when I fight Tank.
On top of the already tight catchweight, he revealed a rehydration clause out of the blue, which is something he wasn't prepared for.
I don't like to gain that much weight anyways after the weigh-ins, so I pretty much walk around in the ring at 148.
Garcia is more accustomed to fighting at 140 pounds, so the contracted 136 pounds will be pretty uncomfortable for him. I mean, it's wrong to take his freedom to choose things he prefers, but now that he has signed the contract, these are things he has agreed to, even if they are as crazy as only 10 pounds being permitted to be gained between weigh-in and the day of the fight. That's when the rehydrate check usually takes place, and he'll have to make sure his weight stays under the limit set by his opponent. Despite the obstacles though, he still chose to sign the contract, and Garcia stated that when he signed on the dotted line, he put the sport of boxing and its fans first. Not to mention, he thinks that despite all the difficulties, he can still manage to walk out of the ring as a winner.
First, before I want to say anything, I want to look up above and thank God, my Father in heaven.
But if you know Davis, you know that he wouldn't let his opponent get away with all these complaints. This is when he took the opportunity to tell Garcia to work instead of wasting time talking.
We just waiting for, Ryan to accept on his side and let's get the job done.
Of course, he had to shed light on the negotiations for his forthcoming mega fight with Ryan Garcia, and he made it super clear that King Rye had accepted all of Davis's terms right from the start. So, he shut down all the crying this man had been busy doing. At the post-fight news conference following his victory over Hector Luis Garcia, Tank was there to reassure all media of one simple fact. His opponent was more than willing to accommodate the fight in way less than 2 months, and it just made him seem very easy to manipulate. But if you think he stopped there, you're wrong. He proceeded to call Ryan a little clown and told him that he should be working rather than gossiping, especially when it's all about the things he has already agreed to. His point was that they proposed the terms of the fight to him, and without any complaints, he agreed to all of them, but he was determined not to let this fight slip away. So here it is for you guys. Sometimes you just gotta bend down to the giants for a chance to beat them at their own game, and that seems to be exactly what Ryan did. It still doesn't mean that there were no issues. The fight was on the verge of being canceled. It all started with quite a huge disagreement because Golden Boy Promotions, the company that promotes Garcia, reportedly believed it had an agreement in place for a prospective rematch. This would have meant that Golden Boy and DAZN would would have controlled a rematch if Garcia had won, but then the contract was returned, with premier boxing champions in charge of the rematch. And as you can imagine, this was a massively non-negotiable issue for Garcia's promoters. I mean, they weren't even ready to budge on this matter due to its commitment to DAZN as the pay-per-view carrier, so they needed this clause to work out for them for the fight to be possible. And you best believe it, this shattered more than just a few hearts for a while. Davis vs. Garcia is a match that boxing fans have been waiting to see for the longest time, and fans had been ecstatic when they got to know that it was finally happening, with ESPN's Coppinger reporting an April 15th fight date in Las Vegas. But despite the jump scare, they sorted the issues out, and now the most anticipated boxing match of all time has a confirmed date. Things are really about to go down on April 22nd. At last, the two will square off in the ultimate brawl. And think about it, these are two young knockout fighters with a huge fan following, so they are definitely poised to smash PPV and attendance records of all time. It is the final test for both of them at the peak of their careers, which is why the pressure is as high as it can get. And with a definite knockout and the age of the internet that we live in, boxing will receive a much needed lift, especially at a time when other potential contests like Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford are nowhere near being signed.
I'm the boogeyman.
You can't be the boogeyman if I'm chasing you.
Everyone know I'm that guy.
You're not that guy.
I'm that guy.
Numbers don't lie.
A lot of hope is resting on this match, and the weight is almost unbearable. When you look at it, it's hard to imagine Davis putting his WBA lightweight championship under such high risk. But do you think it makes a difference? Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury is a brilliant example of how it is the fight that people are interested in.
The knockdown could make it close. Tommy Fury fighting for his life. Jake Paul hanging on a bit, minutes ago.
Not the title, so this might just be the boxing revival you've all been dying for. And if you think you already know who's winning,
yeah, I think it's a good fight. Ryan has the height, the length, the speed.
don't be so sure. Garcia is set not to let Davis under his skin. As you can probably tell by now, this man has had to fight quite a lot to get this fight to happen. I mean, he's been trying since December of last year, but he ended up pushing for it for the fans and what they wanted to see. And now that he's finally here, he's got quite the game plan. In the opening press conference for the fight, he stated how he's gonna maintain the energy he's had with the opponent since before.
He needs to be very careful with Ryan because he's a strong and very fast fighter.
And instead of caring about what Davis thinks of him, he's just gonna focus on himself and get things done in his way.
He has that power, he has that neutralizer, he has the experience, he's been tested, he's been proven, so it's a good fight.
Things are gonna get very interesting very soon. But until then, here's everything you need to know about the trash talking before the Davis versus Garcia mega fight.
I know what it take, man. Some of these guys don't got it. They front runners. They played that tough guy role. And
I'm gonna record all the negotiations so you guys don't make no headlines saying I'm ducking.